Fly Nubian Money. I'm your host, Marlo Layson, and I'm joined by three brand new beautiful queens. Looks like I lost one, but that's okay. She'll get back. I have with me today Cassandra Cheek, Dr. Angelina Dean. And when she joins the room, y'all know her because she's in here every single show chatting with us. We chat back with her. Deborah Williams, y'all know her in the chat as Deborah Will Win. So we are going to get into it. I hope everybody had a great holiday time. As you can see, the Fly Nubian Queens took a little break, but we are back. I hope everybody had a great new year and is ready to get their year off to a great start with a great, bright mindset and ready to make some money, because that's what we do here at Fly Nubian Money. We help you master your mindset and your money. Today, there's a hot topic. Y'all have been keeping this topic going for weeks on the internet now. Since the year started, this was the hot topic. A photo of Dr. Karri Turner Bryant, who is the wife of Pastor Jamal Bryant, circulated and started a storm of controversy online. People had opinions because Dr. Karri's dress was one of those nude illusion dresses, if you will. It was a black lace, very elegant dress, but it looked like she didn't have anything underneath the dress. It sparked lots of conversations about appropriateness and what people feel like a pastor's wife should look like, how she should appear out in public. But then something else happened that kind of turned the conversation in a different direction. A pastor by the name of Patrick Wooden Sr., he addressed the situation from the pulpit. You'll see he is pictured to the right of Dr. Bryant and Pastor Bryant. And he referred to Jamal Bryant's wife as a $2 hoe. And the language like that came from the pulpit, and it kind of landed differently. It's one thing when the people in social media are saying whatever they're saying, but somebody who is of the same stature and career as Jamal Bryant with such a striking criticism was a lot. Not to mention that Black women are the backbone of the Black church, y'all. Like, we are the lead donors. We the main ones that are in the seats. We are there propping up these pastors financially, emotionally, and spiritually. And so it kind of touched people the wrong way. And when women are spoken about, there usually is not any accountability, especially when it comes from a place of authority. So today, the queens are here. I see Deborah has popped into the room, so we're ready to go. And we're going to talk about the dress, the language that followed, and what it means when people depend on women and forget who are the ones that honor them, the women, particularly in the church. So welcome, Deborah, Cassandra, and Dr. Dean. Uh, we are ready to get started. Did everybody get a chance to take a look at the video? Or before we even get into the video, let's go around really quickly. Have each of you ladies seen the dress, and what did you think? Did you think it was appropriate or inappropriate? I think you're muted, Deborah.
Well, I did see the dress. For me, can you hear me? Go ahead, Deborah.
I thought the dress was very appropriate. It was a gala. It was time to dress
Okay,
up. It was black
you
tie
guys hear me? I'm
affair.
sorry.
It was glitz and glam. I thought the dress was very appropriate. I would definitely wear the dress. And forget all that controversy. Wear what you want to wear.
What about you, Cassandra? How did you feel about the dress?
I'm not sure if she
Well,
can hear. I
growing
can
up
give
in
you.
church, being married to a pastor for, you know, my husband was a pastor for 25 years, and I knew, I felt, and I was trained. Um,
I think we lost your audio again.
We were always trained to represent our husbands. We were always trained to represent the Most High, okay? Never to cause somebody to fail. If we,
And what about you, Angeline? How did you feel about the dress?
When I first saw it, I laughed because I said, I
so
already
in the
know
church,
where
like
this
I
is
said, can you hear
going.
me now? Okay, if you can't go, you can go to somebody else. I'll come with you.
Yeah, so I already kind of knew where this was going to go when I saw it. At first, I did have to do like a double take. I thought it was, I thought that I loved the dress. I thought it was an elegant dress. But I knew as a pastor's wife, that was not going to fly. I already knew. I didn't know it was going to go to this extent, but I already knew it was going to be a conversation about it. Yeah.
So some of you all may not be familiar with the situation, but let's go to the video of the pastor, Pastor Wooden, who did not like the dress. Unlike many of the queens on the panel today, he was not feeling it. And he even went a step further and compared his wife to Dr. Bryant. So if we have the video.
The dress was not see-through. The dress was flesh color. I need to set the record straight. I bought the dress.
So you buying dresses now. Even the way he said that was a little questionable.
And I like it.
Why are you liking dresses
I don't
so
care whether
much?
you like it or not. She ain't married to y'all. She married to me. If you wanted a first lady that looked like Little House on the Prairie and Holly Hobbie, you got the wrong church.
Bishop Wooden, another pastor, has actually responded, and he responded from the pulpit.
A preacher presented his wife the other day, and I guess you call that a flesh-colored dress. It's black dress and flesh color. It gives the illusion that she's not wearing anything underneath. And I heard the preacher, when he defended her dress, by saying, first of all, he bought the dress. And then he said, I want to address people who don't know anything, who haven't been anywhere, who don't know nothing. So I guess our objection to a man of the cloth presenting his wife in public looking like a $2 whore. What I would like to know is, where have you been? Where did he go? So I'll make sure that I never go there. Because
And don't send your wife there. Don't send your wife.
I don't want to go anywhere.
Wow.
And I come back with that kind of a notion. Now, I will say this, and this is a comment about my wife, not his wife. This is a comment about my wife. My wife wouldn't have done it, no matter what I said. She just would have said, honey, I'll wear this for you. I wear this for you at home when we know the grandkids aren't coming.
Right. Why not? If this is so much your...
Well, there you have it. There are the pastor's comments. Cassandra, what did you think about this? You were explaining that you were a pastor's wife. What did you think about the pastor's response to what Dr. Bryant was wearing?
I felt that it was very disrespectful. It was something that shouldn't have been said. If you cannot say something in love, it's best not to say it at all. And that showed me, and I'm gonna go there, his disdain for women. Period.
That is
That's how I saw it. But it
that's
shouldn't
a
have been
very
something that was ever said disrespectful. Because when you're a pastor, you're representing love, right? You're representing peace, love, your upbringing. You know, you're raising people up.
Now you mentioned something very interesting because Deborah, what do you feel
You're
about
not
this?
there to tear somebody down. So you have to be very careful what comes out of your mouth about another person.
Absolutely. Deborah, what do you think about this idea of people feeling entitled to police women, especially women that are connected to powerful men such as Pastor Jamal Bryant?
Just like we have freedom of speech here in America, freedom of dress. You can wear what you want to wear and not be policed. I think it was very inappropriate for them to use their sacred desk to talk about something that's worldly. Like you're supposed to be helping people souls get saved, not worrying about what they're wearing. And I attend church, I'm a Christian, and we always say, come as you are. So, hey, what if that was the only outfit a person had to wear that day to church and we're criticizing them? It was that part was inappropriate, making the comments from where their sacred desk was. But you're free to wear what you want, do what you want. At the end of the day, you got to deal with you. So
To that
I don't
point,
think it was appropriate.
she was wearing the dress to a gala. It was a fundraiser, not at the church. It was a fundraiser that was held at a hotel in Atlanta. Do we even think that this conversation would be happening if this were a man? Let's say Jamal Bryant had chosen to wear a shirt that was completely see-through, and he didn't wear a tie or a jacket because it was warm that night in Atlanta. Would we still be having this conversation, or would it be something different? What do you think about that, Dr. Angeline?
So I have seen us have these conversations about men as well, especially when they have those tight fitted suits on. I've seen them have the same conversations about men. I do disagree in some ways. And I feel like, so I did watch the video, and Pastor Wooden did say, I'm not calling her a hoe. I'm talking about her dress. And he did say that. I also believe that, he used that type of language because that's the kind of language that Pastor Jamal Bryant also uses. So I believe, and those two go back and forth. This is not the first video that they're going back and forth at each other on. So I believe that too. I also believe that biblically speaking, if it wasn't a pastor's wife, this wouldn't even be a conversation. And so I do believe that biblically speaking, it talks about dressing in modesty. It talks about how you can cause somebody else to fall. And yes, we come as we are, but we don't stay as we are. That's the whole point about being in the house, supposed to be anyway, about being in the house of God, right? You don't stay as you are. She's a pastor's wife. There's a way that according to how we all believe, or what the word tells us, that there is a way. And that didn't look like modesty. I believe the same thing that Pastor Wooden said, if you was doing this and we was at home, you want to dress like that for me. But I could say so much about what all led up to this from the Pastor Jamal Bryant period aspect of this whole conversation. Yeah.
So you mentioned Pastor Bryant as a personality, right? Because we know him for being on the internet. He has a podcast where he doesn't just talk to pastors. He doesn't just talk to religious people. He talks to entertainers and people that are involved in pop culture, even some people that are a little bit controversial in pop culture. So do you think that his personal brand and who he is as a pastor and his perception as a pastor, do you think that some of how people feel about him is rolling off onto his wife into this moment? Cassandra, what do you think about that? Cassandra, can you hear me? You stuck? Oh, well, what about you, Deborah? Do you think that she's getting a little bit of flack because of who her husband is and kind of how he's transcended the religious space, right? Jamal Bryant is also kind of like almost like a culture icon he's becoming.
I believe that Dr. Karri already had her type of fly style dressing way. And it's just enhanced even more with the two of them together, because he always controversially dressed. He doesn't dress like a normal pastor would dress. He's definitely into the labels, and he wears it every time he's, in the pulpit. That's just him. And I believe that she was already like that as well. So it's just magnified. They're magnified together now in the fashion industry and in the church. So yeah.
A lot of people were talking about that, just talking about how, Jamal Bryant is known for fashion and his wife is known for dressing. Jamal Bryant's previous wife is a member of the one of the Housewives franchise, and she's known as a woman that's into fashion and dressing as well. But do you think that, because you mentioned it, Dr. Angeline, about kind of being chaste in the church and what is appropriate. Do you think that women's bodies are treated as property inside of religious spaces? Do you think that there's more policing of women's bodies in religious spaces than there are in other spaces, I guess?
That's a great question. I believe women's bodies are policed everywhere. I believe, and does it happen in the church? Absolutely. I also think from a biblical perspective that where a lot of these pastors are drawing criticism from the world is your brand is supposed to be the brand of kingdom. So are you trying to address the world or are you trying to address Christ, right? Who are you selling? And I think that's where a lot of their controversy came from, especially with Jamal Bryant, when you look at his past and some of the perverseness of who he is and how he sometimes represents himself and carries himself. I mean, when you have celebrities right now, it's not even a church only that's going for him. It's celebrities. I was really shocked to see that myself, how many celebrities. You just had T.I. talk about his church being like a strip club. I was like, what in the world is happening over there? But not surprised. I wasn't surprised though from it. So yeah, I do think that our women's bodies are just police, period, unfortunately.
They are. And I think I will say about this, I wish times like this make me wish for times when we didn't know everybody's business, right? Because this moment overshadows something that is so much more important than church bickering, right? That night, that gala raised $4 million that is to benefit the United Negro College Fund. As a matter of fact, proceeds from the event support student access to education across scholarships and through operational access, right? So I think that this is one of those times for me where we as a community of people, specifically Black people, are missing the point, in my opinion, because this night was about raising money for HBCUs, which don't get enough money, right? They are grossly underfunded. Many of the alumni don't have the money to fund them to the degree that other colleges and universities do. So while we're talking about a nude illusion dress, we're missing the fact that many young people will benefit from this night. So should it matter the why, right? Should why they were there that night, dressed to the nines, be eclipsed by what one gala goer was wearing? These were hundreds, if not thousands, of people were at this gala that night. Should this benefit be eclipsed by what she was wearing? Deborah, what do you say about that?
Absolutely not. The praise should have went to the fact, like you said, how much money was raised for Black and Brown students to be able to go to college, to get their degrees, and none of that is being spoken of. And that's one thing I don't care for the media about when it comes to our community. When it's something positive, we don't get the coverage. But because of this dress, it took away everything from that night. And that was a star-studded night. Like, that should have been the highlights. That should have been the reels. That should have been the coming attraction on everybody's social media pages, but it wasn't. It was about her dress. And his ex-wife previously wore like a jumpsuit like that before when they were married. We didn't hear any controversy about that when she wore it. So why are we hearing it now? It
Well,
just
he's much
doesn't
more
make
popular
sense.
now, right, than he was then. He's a much more popular personality now than years ago when he and Giselle were still together. We do have another video, another perspective on this that we want to take a look at, and then we're gonna dive into what we think about that.
Can I tell you my opinion on the dress? This is why people don't want to go into ministry. What y'all missed while y'all were focusing on a couple's decision to wear a particular dress to the masquerade ball, right? And I know y'all saying this is not the one. This is them, I believe, at the Miguel Wilson event. Shout out to you, Miguel. But this is a couple who's high fashion. They were high fashion before they met. That's why they're a perfect match. And if you look at their Instagram and know them, they're always laughing, always having fun. And it just makes you, have hope about finding love later in life, especially with someone who's equally yoked and aligned, right? But here's what y'all missed. Every week at their church in New Birth, feeding 1,500 people when the government is not. If y'all have forgotten, people still are food impoverished. I saw them give out toys for kids during Christmas under a big old tent and make it fun because people still didn't have enough money to buy their kids Christmas gifts. I saw them say, don't tithe to the church during the particular week. Give everything to the furloughed workers, and saw them distributed. You don't see both of them preaching during the week, ministering to thousands. You don't see the respect that is now had for the black dollar because of the boycott. What you focus on is a decision to wear a dress to a masquerade ball. If you saw it, it looks different than the internet. You see it, you see it's high fashion. Now, it may not be for you, but you may not be able to have that same level of style. But for a pastor, a bishop to take to the pulpit, to say something negative, especially with a disrespectful spirit, is not of God. So I'm here to celebrate my brother and sister. And for all of you, first ladies, co-pastors, who are beautiful and excellent, keep doing it. Don't let the world tell you how to dress.
Okay, sir. Okay. I don't know if that is necessarily the point that people are making in terms of, their style. Like Jamal Bryant does have a very high fashion style. He does like his labels and his fashion. So that's interesting. The chat is also lighting up. I see y'all have lots of opinions on this. Y'all been waiting for us to come back, huh? Y'all got a lot to say. And people are bringing up the fact that people criticize Pastor John Gray, who used to be known for wearing very expensive sneakers. He would wear exclusive Jordans, the ones that are really hard to get, rare one-of-one shoes, and he was a pastor. Have we gotten away from the point of being a pastor? Dr. Angeline, I think this one is for you. Have we gotten away from the point and purpose of the church as we worry about fashion, policing what everybody is wearing? How expensive is this? You should be prioritizing giving over having. Like, where is the body of Christ in this moment? And have we gotten away from the point of it all and what we all should be caring about and doing as we worry about fashion?
Personally, I believe the church is losing a lot of people for a lot of their worldliness. Yeah. So it's almost like, why do I have to go? I can do this out in the street. What do I have to get my money for? I hear it a lot. I've seen it. It's funny. I just said to somebody the other day, wouldn't it be something if God was really protecting the world from us in the church because we can't get it right? And maybe that's why they're not coming in. Maybe he is protecting them. And the person looked at me like, really, you believe that? I said, I'm starting to, because some of the stuff that I'm seeing, it's like, why go? And that's what I'm hearing a lot. Unfortunately, that's what I'm hearing a lot of people say. Thank God for some of the ones that I do know that are striving to do A, B, C, D according. And as one who has a fashion degree, that's my first degree. I'm also mindful if I'm going to something representing God and saying that I'm representing God, to me, there is a look. I'm not coming with my chest hanging all out, my butt hanging all out, like all of that kind of stuff. There is some type of modesty, right? And so, yeah, I do believe that we're losing out because of how we're carrying ourselves in a myriad of ways, and not just because of fashion. I mean, you turn on, I just was watching another video where I saw something where it was just very, very inappropriate. Somebody else is raping this girl or this boy, and all of this stuff is happening in the house. So yeah, that was my thought process just the other day. Maybe God's protecting the world from us until we get it together.
That is an interesting perspective. I also want to just say kudos to Jamal Bryant, because he was at the forefront of getting people to step away from Target. When everything with Black Lives Matter was going on with these police killings and police shootings, he broke away from the mainstream church because the mainstream church wasn't saying nothing. And he has a lot of relationships with mainstream pastors that were very silent, and he called them out. So I think that, everybody is a duality, right? You got the part of you that is good and great and gracious, and then you have the part of you that other people question your motives and all of those sorts of things. But I just want to say, for him, he has been doing good works. He has been out front, as the gentleman in the previous video explained, talking about them doing Christmas giveaway, Christmas toy giveaways, and saying, hey, don't tithe, give your money instead to these furloughed workers who are experiencing hardship because the government shut down. I think that those things can't be missed. And I don't want to get into a comparison, but what are the detractors doing? What are the people that are saying she should have stayed home, she should have wore that at the house? What are y'all doing? Were y'all out there with the $4 million that was raised at the gala? Like, how are you using your power other than to talk down to Jamal Bryant? We have one more video, so let's try to get into that and see what another take is, because so many people had opinions. This topic spawned so many conversations, and everybody had an opinion about it. So let's see what this other person's take was, and we'll get into more of the conversation. We have a video? Maybe we don't. Well, until we do, you just cut me off, T, whenever you got it. The dress was illusion, y'all. She was not nude underneath that dress. There's actually a sheath that is either sewn into the dress or that she was wearing separately, that you can't see any of her parts. So we weren't seeing any of her lady bits. And I think that some of what we're seeing are pictures with high bulb photo flash, that it is going to show everything, because that's what it's made to do. That's the way that the camera is designed. That's the functionality of the light bulb that flashes when they take the picture. So I think, to me, a lot of this is much to do about nothing, and we should be concerning ourselves with other things. But we're concerned with this right now, so let's take a look at that video.
Jamal Bryant, let's be honest. That dress was inappropriate and your response was inappropriate. I don't care what nobody say, but that man is not a pastor. He is an entertainer and a mass manipulator. There is a time and a place for everything. And that little speech that he gave to his congregation was not the time nor the place. He definitely could have saved that for his podcast. Let me just say this. If any of his members of his congregation would have walked in his church with such a dress on, he would have had something to say, as well as the people in that congregation. And anybody who go to church, y'all know that I'm telling the damn truth. They would have judged that woman and been so judgmental towards her that it didn't make no goddamn sense. So don't sit up there and act like we the people are sitting here overreacting. I don't give a damn how T her body is or how good she looked in that dress, whatever the case may be. The shit was inappropriate. I don't care if she she actually really wasn't showing flesh, skin, whatever the case may be. The dress was insinuating such. It was inappropriate, okay? So let's just be real. All the goddamn congregation and the people, he stood on business for his wife, whoop-de-woo. Baby, if that's what you call standing on business in a situation like that, then baby, we got bigger problems than we thought.
Okay, so judgment in the church is a real thing. If you've been to church, you may have experienced it. Some of you may have left church because you experienced it. So as we look at this video with her saying, you know, if it would have been somebody in the church that wore the dress, it would have been all of this judgment. Should we stop judging people for what they are wearing? Should we just mind our own what we are wearing and let other people live and express themselves through what they wear? How do you feel about that, Deborah?
I wholeheartedly feel that, yes, stop judging people for what they're wearing. If somebody would have showed up in New Birth with that dress on, he would have called them down to the front and said, walk, he would have strutted them because he loves fashion. He would have embraced the person if they would have showed up. I've seen him do it. You come in there with a bad cowboy hat on, you come in there with something nice on, he'd be like, come down here to the front, let us all see it, because he loves fashion. And you can't take that from a person. That's their creativity coming out of them. How dare you judge someone who's being creative? That's his creativity. I don't care what platform he's on. That's what he likes to do. Just because you don't like it doesn't mean that he's wrong for doing it, doesn't mean that he's not who he's supposed to be. Listen, Joseph had a coat of many colors. And guess what? Them brothers was jealous of that coat, weren't they? So listen, you can't just put everybody in the same basket and expect for everyone to act and be the same way. God made us all differently. We're supposed to be individuals. So that's my take on that.
Dr. Angeline, what about you? Is somebody in the chat said, sorry, you got a bunch of letters, so I don't know what quite that is, but why do people feel that they should not be judged for wrong behavior? Should people be judged for wrong behavior? Is that our place as people who are also falling short constantly to be judging others? What do you say about that, Dr. Angeline?
So I wouldn't call it judge. I think the way that the pastor went about it could have been done much better, right? If your brother stumbles, or if you think your brother stumbled, you go to them. I don't think that he needed to come out the way that he did, right? She looked like, her outfit looked like a $2, like all of that to me was just so unnecessary. I think that it was a way in which he could have went to Pastor Bryant, or any of those people could have went to Pastor Bryant and said, yo, man, listen, can we have a conversation? I think something could have been done that way. And in fact, biblically speaking, that's what you're supposed to do, right? That is how it should have been handled, and the situation should have been handled. And again, and like I think you said it too, Marlo, all of this is so much more that we need to be doing as a Black community than spending time talking about some lady's dress. Again, it was because it was Jamal, and it was because it was her. Yes, I don't agree. Now I'm gonna tell you this much: if that somebody walked in that church with that dress on, them women would have been all over her, and they would have been calling her some of the same things that they calling his wife. So I don't agree with that. I seen people wear less than that in church. Oh my God, who she thinks she is? She thinks she cute. Why she got that? I've seen it. So I do not agree. Somebody walk up in that church with that dress on, all them women would have been on her. Yes, absolutely not.
And I've definitely seen some first ladies, like, I will reiterate, she was not at church, y'all. This was a evening gala event. But I have seen some peplum dresses step up in the sanctuary on a Sunday morning, and it was a lot of leg happening. I'm talking about a lot of leg with no stocking covering it. So this is something, again, because church is a place where people flaunt their high fashions a lot of times. people end up not fully dressed or not dressed as they would. But I think if it weren't this dress, it would be her hair. If it weren't her hair, it'd be the company that she keeps outside of the church. If it were not it would be something, I believe, because I believe that Jamal Bryant has gotten himself in a position where there's a lot of spotlight on him, a lot of criticism on him, and there are a lot of people who, for whatever reason, may have an axe to grind and just will never be satisfied with what he does. Do you think, Deborah, that a man of God, such as himself, regardless of what the chat feels, because y'all have some strong opinions in this chat today, regardless of what they feel, he is a pastor. He does have a church or two. I don't know that much about his church. Do you believe that because he says he picked the dress, right? He chose the dress for her. He purchased the dress. Do you believe that he should be more conscious of other people's opinion because of his status, right? Jamal Bryant is not Jay-Z, right? His wife is not Beyonce. He is a pastor that should be leading a flock. So in the future, do you think that Jamal Bryant should think a little bit more about these fashion choices so that we don't have the wrong conversation going on like we do right now?
I don't believe that Jamal's going to be considerate of anybody's feelings when it comes to picking a dress for his wife again. He's only going to care what he likes, and she's going to probably wear it, and we're going to have a conversation again if it blows up this big again. But in all honesty, I believe that, people are coming to church, they're coming to church for salvation, not for fashion, but because we're getting caught up with social media and people, making videos and comments. And so now we go down the rabbit hole. But I believe that, again, like that's your creativity. That's who you are. That's you don't want anyone to subtract that from you, because then you're less of being who you are. If you start doing what everybody and the masses call for you to do, you're not yourself anymore. You're not your authentic self anymore. So I believe that he's going to stand 10 toes down, right, as what he's been doing, and he's not going to change anything. That's just who he is.
So you touched on something there, and I want to pivot this question to Dr. Angeline about morality, right? There's a lot of talk about, if you that's amoral. You can see her, even the illusion shows that they have no morality. Is this about morality and making choices that lead into your morality, or is this about optics and just about being what people see, right? And is this really about putting on a facade for other people so that they can believe you are who you say you are?
I think for Jamal Bryant, it's both. When you look at his history, his background, cheated on his wife, got another woman pregnant, wanted to pay for an abortion for another woman, like all of this stuff that came out, and he sets himself up. I think it's for attention. Personally, he put himself in these positions, and does it make it right that everybody's coming for him, coming after him? No, it doesn't make it right. But I feel like Pastor Jamal does a lot of this. I've heard him say some things and I'm like, where is that in the word? Right. And so I do feel like for him, it is more about a brand. And so I think for him, it's a little of both. And when you have a wife that, I just was listening, as I said, I was listening to some things before joining this. The men, I said, oh my God, this is horrible. They're not concentrating on her as a woman of God. They're looking at her having a BBL, how she flaunts this, how she does this. And again, I think they put themselves and they keep themselves in the spotlight for criticism, and they allow themselves to be in it. I think they like it personally.
And you know what? They probably do, because part of how they make their money is being public figures, right? Part of all of this is them monetizing their personal brands so that they can make money. And I mean, we can't shun that too much on Fly Nubian Money, because that's what we're talking about all the time. Ways to monetize, ways to use what you have to get what you want and need. So in that case, I mean, I guess you clock right where we at, Pastor Jamal. For those of you that are maybe just joining or joining late, we are talking about the controversial dress that Dr. Karri Bryant wore to the gala. That was a fundraiser for the United Negro College Fund in Atlanta. They raised $4 million, but as you can see, all it really did was elicit I won't say complaints. It elicited criticism for Dr. Karri, who was compared to a $2 hoe for wearing a dress that is a nude illusion dress. She was not nude beneath the dress. It just looks that way because that's where we are in this moment in fashion. So let's take a look at the first video again, just for those that you just joined, so we can see how we got here.
The dress was not see-through. The dress was flesh color. I need to set the record straight. I bought the dress.
So you buying dresses now. Even the way he said that was a little questionable.
And I like it.
Why are you liking dresses so
whether
much?
you like it or not. She ain't mad to y'all. She mad to me. If you wanted a first lady that looked like Little House on the Prairie and Holly Hobbie, you got the wrong church.
Bishop Wooden, another pastor, has actually responded, and he responded from the pulpit.
A preacher presented his wife the other day, and I guess you call that a flesh-colored dress. It's black dress and flesh color. It gives the illusion that she's not wearing anything underneath. And I heard the preacher, when he defended her dress, by saying, first of all, he bought the dress. And then he said, I want to address people who don't know anything, who haven't been anywhere, who don't know nothing. So I guess our objection to a man of the cloth presenting his wife in public looking like a $2 whore. What I would like to know is, where have you been? Where did he go? So I'll make sure that I never go there. Because
So there you have it, the response from Pastor Jamal Bryant about the criticism that his wife received over this dress. And then another response from Pastor Wooden, who didn't like the dress and said his wife would only prance in such a garment at the crib. So we have dueling thoughts on this. But we also have a few stats. I don't know if we're going to have them for the screen, but I'll just run through a couple of them that grabbed my eye. Women in leadership or proximity to power face higher reputational scrutiny despite having no control over the institutional finances, right? Also, we just talked about this. Controversial moments often lead to increased online engagement, which can boost streaming, views, attendance, and brand visibility. And as somebody said, who is it? DYCT Ministry said in the chat, that was excellent. Some people love attention and are getting rich by others talking about them. And the pastors that talk about them are using them to promote themselves too. So this dress is the gift that keeps on giving for so many people. Because people that have never been in these types of conversations are now popping up in conversations amongst us, right? They're getting out of the religion circle and getting into the circle of the world, which Dr. Angeline probably feels like that's a no, don't. Y'all keep separate, right? Because she mentioned earlier that maybe God is saving the people outside of the church from the people that are inside the church, because it is chaotic sometimes within the body of Christ. we're going to be wrapping up here real soon and get into our final thoughts. Thank you, chat. Y'all, look, y'all were in it. Y'all were busy today. Y'all had a lot to say, and I knew you would because this has had the internet lit up for the first week and a half of the year. Let's, before I get to our final thoughts, let me go through some of these. This made me laugh too. Incog 4654, the last video that we just watched, the man was saying, why are you liking dresses so much? It did make me laugh because why can't Jamal Bryant like dresses? My fiance bought me a dress, y'all. It's okay. If a man sees a dress that his woman might like, it is perfectly fine for that fashionable man to buy that woman a dress. Y'all are nuts. Yeah, we send in positive vibes and love to you too, Miss Deluxe. Hello, Black Lexicon. We missed you too. Double A, we missed you too. All of y'all, I'm so happy everybody is back. I see a few names and a few new faces in there. So that is excellent, excellent, excellent. Thank you for joining us. We're going to get into our final topic or our final thoughts. Sorry, y'all. Y'all know Lala normally is sitting here. Somebody asked me to keep Lala's seat warm, and I'm doing the best that I can. But I don't normally be out here doing Lala's job. Lala, where you at? At the end of the day, this conversation really is not about lace, skin, or fashion. It's about who controls the narrative, who controls the money, and whose bodies are treated as collateral. When institutions depend on public trust, imagery becomes currency, and too often women are the ones who pay the price. So before we judge the dress, we should ask ourselves, what are we protecting? Faith or comfort? That is a good question. This is Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. Before we get out of here, I'm going to kick it to Dr. Angeline so she can give us her final thoughts.
I knew you was coming here first this last time. But this was a great conversation. I love seeing everything in the chat. I will say, like I said before, it's a time and a place for everything. And someone in the chat said Jamal Bryant's job is to keep our eyes focused on God and not his wife's body. Again, I agree with some of the people in the chat as well. I look at him more as a motivational speaker than I do as a pastor and or a man of God. And that's from some personal things that I've seen, heard, and know myself personally, not from somebody telling me what's what. And I would end by saying, is your focus on kingdom or is your focus on the world? If it's on the world, then keep doing it the way you're doing it. But I don't see kingdom in a lot of what Jamal Bryant does or has done. So those will be my final thoughts with him.
And Dr. Angeline, how can everybody get in touch with you if they're looking for you? They want to follow you on social media. How should they get in touch with you?
Sure. What is it? Facebook. I'm Angeline, quote Angie Dean. IG. What's the other one? IG, LinkedIn, and TikTok. I am Dr. Angeline Dean, either disruptor or cultural gap architects. And then my email is right in my line right here by my name.
All right. And what about you, Deborah? What are your final thoughts and how can the people get in touch with you? And do you want the people to get in touch with you? You may not be ready yet. Let them know either way.
This is a great show. As always, I love Fly Nubian Money. My name is Deborah E. Williams. On YouTube, I'm Deborah Will Win. Coming slowly back into social media, but I'm Deborah Got Light on Instagram and Deborah E. Williams on Facebook. And my final thought is this: don't let anybody, social media, the world, take away whatever God has given you. If fashion is your thing, then, represent yourself that way. And we're in relation to Jamal Bryant being a bishop, pastor, and First Lady Karri Bryant, they're fashion icons. And yes, this dress was controversial in the church. It makes us take a look at ourselves. What are we judging? Why are we judging? We're all going to be judged at the end of the day, individually, not based on what you wore, but by what you've done. Let your good work speak for you. not your fashion. Again, my name is Deborah E. Williams, and thank you for having me.
Thank you for hopping out of the chat and onto the screen. It's so good to be here with you today. So I'm gonna make mine short and sweet. First of all, I'm gonna quote my mama who said he cannot serve two masters, and I know that that's the truth, right? You cannot be of the world and be in the body of Christ. You do have to make a decision, but I'm gonna pose a question instead of having a final thought. Should he be able to reach people? Can he still reach people if he is inaccessible and if he feels like a stranger to the people of the world? I don't know. That is not my calling. Thankfully, that is not my ministry. It is my ministry to come here, talk to y'all, discuss these things. I don't have to carry that weight, thankfully. But I will say, let's just all think a little bit before we start to speaking. A lot of times we get into these debates and we're going off of nothing but the optics of the situation. I think it is much more important to know what a person's intentions are. I think that we should be celebrating the fact that they went to this mayor's gala in Atlanta and were part of raising these funds for these young minds. I think that we cannot get away from the why were they even outside in the beginning. And I think that we should give each other a little bit of grace. I don't believe that a person's life stops once they, enter the body of Christ. I don't know enough about Jamal Bryant. I've been honest to say whether or not he's a charlatan or a real man of God. I don't know. And that's not my call to make. What I'm saying is be kind to each other, have a little grace, love on each other, and do what you can to make your community, your church, your family better than it was the day before. I'm Marlo. This has been Fly Nubian Money, where we help you maximize your mindset and master your money, or maybe those are opposite. I don't know, but if your money and your mindset is right, you will have good outcomes. And that's what we come here to talk about Monday through Friday, noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern. I think that's 11 o'clock on the West Coast. I don't know. Wake up and watch us and talk to us and chat with us because we chat back. Thanks for watching. Come back tomorrow at the same time.